Hi everyone, happy holiday season. My name is Sam and today we're going to be working with a flow I like to call holiday hips. So whenever you're ready, I'll meet you at the top of your mat in a standing posture, a Tadasana or mountain pose. All right, on an inhale, let's take our hands to the sky. Exhale, take your hands to heart center. Inhale, rise, baby back bend here. Exhale, fold all the way forward. Our first ragdoll or forward fold. Shake it out here, pedal out the legs. Really start to introduce that sensation to the hips. That's what we're working with today, right? You'll feel the hamstrings tighten up, stretch. Inhale, let's take a half lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step back, and let's build through our first Chaturanga Flow. So for our Chaturanga Flow, you guys have two options. That's either the Chaturanga Dandasana into the up dog and the down dog, or inhale, shoot forward into your plank. This time come onto your knees and shoot your chest through. Inhale, cobra, and then exhale, down dog. So two Chaturanga variations. You do whichever feels best for you. It's your body, it's your choice. All right, we're in our first downward dog. Let's pedal up the legs. Inhale, I straighten one leg, I bend the other. Exhale, I straighten that guy that was bent, and I bend the other guy. And let's keep moving with the breath. One breath, one movement, one leg bends, the other one straightens. Claw your fingertips into the ground to create a more supportive base in your hands. We don't want to send all the weight to our wrists because our wrists tend to be very sensitive. And now we're going to clean up our dog. Let's micro bend our knees and create a really, really long line from our wrists all the way to our tailbone. Now, preserving this really, really long line in our spine, we're going to start to straighten out our legs without compromising that stretch in our back. Awesome work. Now, in your next exhale, bend your knees, look forward, and we're going to step to the top of our mat. Hang heavy in a ragdoll. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, let's rise all the way back to our mountain pose. Hands come up with us. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Inhale, rise, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Ardha Uttanasana on an inhale. Exhale, plant your hands, step back, and let's go through your Chaturanga Flow, whichever variation you like, whichever variation you picked. Exhale, I drop down. Inhale, I lift. And exhale, I shoot my hips back, downward facing dog. We've been here before. Now we're going to try to be still in this downward dog with our breath, focusing all of our attention on our breath. Let's build an Ujjayi Breath to create some heat in this cold, cold, cold New York winter atmosphere. So for your Ujjayi Breath, you're going to lock the back of your throat so that your inhales sound exactly like your exhales. Now, they don't have to be loud. They have to be just audible for you to hear them. So start all the way from the bottom of your tummy. Build, build, build that inhale. And let it go. Watch it flow down the spine. The second we start to focus on the breath, life gets so much more comfortable. It's a magic concept, really. Let's do another 2 breaths here. Inhale. And let it out. On your last inhale, let's do a little bit of a breath called a lion's breath. So this time we're going to take a deep breath in. Tighten up the face, really, really scrunch those muscles, and then you're going to open your mouth as wide as you can, stick your tongue out and make a kind of noise. When we make crazy faces, it tends to make us feel a lot more comfortable in our natural bodies as opposed to that face we put on every day in our works, in our lives, in all our works, right? All right, let's bend our knees on an exhale, look forward and step to the top of your mat. On an inhale, rise halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, let's rise all the way. Exhale, hands to your heart center. All right, we got one more. Let's do it. Inhale, rise all the way. Exhale, fold. Half lift. Plant your hands and step back into your down dog. Let's build our chaturanga one more time. So whichever variation you choose, exhale, elbows back. Inhale, rise. Linger here a little bit to lengthen out that inhale. And then exhale, send the hips back. Downward facing dog. We're not going to be here for too long. Remember, we're focusing on the Ujjayi breath. So follow the breath all the way from your tailbone as it crawls up the spine, reaches the back of your head. Then maybe hold it at the top and watch it come all the way back down. It's really a crazy concept, the Jalandhara Bandha, or the throat lock. When you lock the back of your throat like that, you can watch the breath come up so smoothly, so softly. And your inhales even out with your exhales. It becomes such a balance in your body, right? And balance is good for us. Balance breeds health. So let's take this balance or this prakriti into our practice. On an exhale, bend your knees, look forward, and step to the top of your mat. Inhale, rise halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sit that booty down, chair pose. Now, yeah, we're tight. We're crunching our abs and we're crunching our hip muscles, all of it. But don't forget that breath we worked on so long in our Surya Namaskar A, in our downward dog. Exhale, fold forward. Half lift, plant your hands, step back. Let's go through your Chaturanga Flow, your preference. I'll meet everybody back in a downward dog on an exhale. Now inhale, you're going to lift your left leg to the sky, and exhale, step it through for a low lunge. We're doing things a little bit differently. So pay attention. In this low lunge, we want to wiggle out the hips, so keep rocking back and forth, creating more space between the hips. Remember, your thighs are pushing into each other, almost scissoring in, to create more space in between them eventually. Great job. Inhale, rise for a high lunge. Your back heel stays lifted. Exhale, fold. Step your right foot back and let's go through our Chaturanga Flow. On your next inhale, lift your left leg to the sky. Exhale, step it through in between your hands. Again, we're going for that low lunge and we're stretching it out. So start to swing back and forth, rock back and forth. Really stretch out those hips, right? That space in between those hips. And on an inhale, you're going to shoot that back heel even further back to create a more stable base, and then rise for your high lunge. Your back heel stays lifted. Exhale, take your hands to the ground, step back, and let's go through our Chaturanga Flow. Awesome work, everyone. Let's take a breath here. And then on an inhale, take your right leg to the sky. Exhale, step it through in between your hands. Get comfortable in that low lunge. We've been here before. Exhale, rise, high lunge. Breathe in this position. And on your exhale, you're going to open up into a warrior 2. Swinging down your back heel, making it parallel to the short side of your mat. Widening open the arms so that they're pulling away from each other. And you're going to gaze over your right hand. Your hips are wide open to the left side of your mat. And every inhale you rise towards the ceiling, every exhale you sink deeper into that right knee. Careful to make sure that right knee doesn't surpass your ankle. It should be hovering over your ankle, but never exceeding, never hyperextending. On an exhale, cartwheel your hands down, step your right foot back, and let's go through our Chaturanga Flow. I'll meet everybody back in an Adho Mukha Svanasana on an exhale, a downward dog. Inhale, lift the left leg to the sky. Exhale, step it through in between the hands. And get comfortable in that low lunge position. We hold so much tension in our hips. And the second you start to open them, you'll really, really feel those emotions, that flavor come to the top of the soup pot. Inhale, rise for that high lunge. Stay here for a breath. Awesome, awesome, awesome work. Exhale, open up to your warrior 2. Take a wider stance and breathe here. Opening our hips breeds vulnerability, and we don't usually tend to like that stuff. But the second you open your hips, you open your heart, you become vulnerable, you open yourself up to so many more opportunities. So wouldn't you rather have so much more to choose from, so much more to experience in life than be closed off and secure and safe? Yeah, safety is important, but vulnerability is as well. On an exhale, cartwheel your hands down, step your left foot back, and let's go through our Chaturanga Flow. Awesome work. Let's linger in this down dog for a couple of breaths. Every inhale, you lengthen. Every exhale, you sink deeper. Your shoulders come closer to the ground. Your chest comes closer to the ground. It actually comes closer to your knees, I would say. Keep that micro bend in the knees, especially if you're compromising any kind of long line in your spine. And on your next inhale, take your right leg to the sky. Exhale, step it through in between your legs. Get comfortable, wiggle it out. Rock back and forth. And on an inhale, on a back hinge, let's rise for our high lunge. Exhale, open up into a warrior 2. Breathe here. On another exhale, you're going to tip down into a side angle. Your hand can come on the inside of your right foot. If this is too tough for you, maybe you want to take your elbow to your right thigh. If you have a bind in your practice, let's build it up. This is our first bind of class, so let's start slow. Let's twist our left palm so that it's facing the back of the room. Then we're going to swing it down so that it comes behind our right thigh. Then we're going to tuck our right hand under our right thigh to finally meet our left hand and then pull back for your bound side angle. Our chest is facing towards the sky. We're looking up. Exhale, slowly unravel. Plant your hands, step your right foot back. And let's go through our Chaturanga Flow. So that's a plank. Then a Chaturanga Dandasana, or on your knees and slide through. Inhale your upward facing dog or your cobra. Linger here. And on an exhale, tuck your toes, shoot your hips back, downward facing dog. We got one more side to go. On an inhale, lift your left leg to the sky. Exhale, step it through in between your hands. Let's rock forward and back. Really, really, really feel the benefits of all that stretching in our hips. Inhale on a back hinge, rise, high lunge. Exhale, swing open into that warrior two. Don't forget about that movement with the breath, right? Inhale, you're losing space in your body. So you might rise higher towards the ceiling. Exhale, you're creating more space in your body, throwing out all that old air. And then you can sink deeper into the pose. Really, really take advantage of it. Now on an exhale, you're going to tilt down into your side angle. Your right hand shoots up, your left hand comes inside of your left foot, or if it's too tough, your elbow comes to your left thigh. We're going to go for our first bind on the left side, so twist your right palm so that it's facing the front of the room. Throw it down behind you, behind your left thigh, and then swing your left hand under to meet your right hand. Interlace your fingers and pull back. Your chest should automatically start to open towards the ceiling, taking your gaze up with you. On your next exhale, start to unravel. Frame your front foot, step your left foot back, and let's go through our Chaturanga Flow. All right, let's take a breath or two here. A micro bend in the knees. We're breathing. Maybe you want to pedal out the legs again. I always over pedal the legs and I get a lot of shit for it, but I love to love my hamstrings. So let's show our body, our hips, our hamstrings a little love. Oh yeah, find the holiday spirit. On your next exhale, you're going to bend your knees, you're going to look forward and make your way to the top of the mat, however you'd like. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, half lift. Exhale, fold, and inhale, swing back and up into your chair pose. Yeah, we made it back here. It was a very modified Surya B, but it was a Surya B. We made it. We made it, we made it, we made it. On an inhale, you're going to take your hands to your heart and you're going to rise simultaneously. We're back in our Tadasana position with an Anjali Mudra at the chest. Maybe close your eyes and refocus, recenter. We stand on these two legs all day, but how difficult is it to balance with your eyes closed? So interesting. You'd think we'd be able to do it any day, in any form, in any shape. Eyes closed, eyes open, whatever. But closing the eyes or sending the gaze to an unfamiliar location really challenges the balance. We might play with that today, actually, so get ready. All right, on an inhale, let's take our hands to the sky. Baby back bend in Urdhva Hastasana. And on your exhale, let's fold forward. Half lift. Plant your hands, step back, and let's go through our Chaturanga Flow. All right, come onto your knees. You're welcome to come into any version of child's pose you'd like. Maybe you want to hang in a Vajrasana with your palms open and your eyes closed. Maybe you want to use this as playtime. I'd like to come into a headstand at this point. So if you have a Shavasana in your practice, please go for it. I'm going to do the variation where you have a triangle base with your elbows and your wrists. So for that variation, what you need to do is you have to interlace your fingers so that you form a little shelf with those two pinkies. And then you're going to press the back of your head into that shelf you've created while maintaining a really stable base with your elbows, pushing your elbows to the ground and distributing enough weight into them so that the weight isn't all in your head and your cervical spine. You're going to lift your hips, come onto your tippy toes and inch them forward, forward, forward until they start to lift off the ground. Maybe come into your butt first and then shoot all the way up into your Shavasana, variation 1. I'm just as high, just as tall as this beautiful Christmas tree behind me, and I'm staring at it. Oh my God, I can see myself in those little Christmas balls. And I'm breathing. Again, we're using this time either for our Shavasana or to rest. So use it how you wish. Just a couple more breaths here. How tall can you grow? How easy can you make this pose for yourself? On an exhale, as slowly as you can, start to make your way down, engaging the core. We're going to roll up, come into that Vajrasana or that child's pose or whatever you were working on before. Whatever pose of rest you really, really embrace, you really, really love. And breathe here. When you feel like you got your breath recentered, let's make our way back into a downward facing dog. And let's start flowing. I think I'm ready. Are you? Let's do it, let's do it, let's do it. Holidays. Inhale, lift your right leg to the sky. Exhale, step it through in between your hands. We're going to spin our back heel down at a 45-degree angle and rise for our first Warrior 1 of class. Now for your Warrior 1, you're probably taking a shorter stance and you're swinging your hips towards the front of the room. Your left hip pushes forward, your right hip pushes back. On an exhale, we're going to open up into our Warrior 2. This isn't so unfamiliar to us. We've been here before. But what's different is our hips are now splayed open to the left side of the room, whereas for our Warrior 1, our hips were facing all the way forward. Let's sink into this posture. And then on an exhale, let's come back to that side angle. Breathe here. Maybe you want to go for your bind again, or just stay here. Maybe you want to take your right hand on the outside of your right foot. Maybe you want to extend your side angle. But at the end of the day, we'll be making it into a wide-legged forward fold facing the left corner of your mat. And now, take a half lift here, placing your shoulders directly over your wrists. And rise, slowly twisting your heels in for a goddess squat. So for your goddess squat, your heels are twisted in, and your hips are pushing forward towards the left. Your hands can be on your hips for now. We're swinging right to left, and we're trying our best to balance in this posture. It might be a little hard. This pose tends to challenge my balance very, very often. Now we're going to introduce a new balance, a new sway to this goddess. So on your exhale, you're going to tip your left shoulder in, and your right shoulder pops back. You're looking up towards the ceiling. Recenter, and then on your next exhale, take your right shoulder in the middle, swinging your head up towards the sky. All right, and your breath, your movement, let's take a couple more of these swings, really, really opening up those inner hips and challenging the balance. Again, we're on 2 feet, but it's not that easy. We think we're masters at our own 2 feet, but a lot of the time we tend to be a lot less what's the word? A lot less professional at it. That's not it. Than we think we are. All right. And on your last left hinge down, let's come back up. And let's straighten our legs, come back into that wide-legged forward fold. Whoa. It should feel really, really liberating on your inner hips. Now maybe you want to interlace your hands behind your tailbone. Pull down to open up your heart. And then on an exhale, hinge at the hips, hinge all the way forward, taking your arms up with you. Your head comes to the ground and maybe your arms swing down if your shoulders are open enough. One breath here. Exhale, take your hands to the ground with you. Rise for a half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way. Twist your right leg out so that it's facing the front side. Frame your right leg with your hands, step it back, and let's go through our Chaturanga Flow. I'll meet everybody back in a down dog. You guys are doing great. This isn't an easy flow, but you committed to it. Let's see how long you can stay committed. On an inhale, let's raise our left leg to the sky and then step it through in between our hands, sending all the weight, distributing the weight evenly in between our legs. On an inhale, we're going to twist our back heel down at a 45-degree angle and rise for our warrior one. Our hips are straight towards the front of the room. I'm going to maintain these straight hips, pushing our right hip forward and our left hip back. And then all of a sudden, open up into our warrior two on an exhale, opening our hips to the right side of the room. A very, very, very different stretch than the stretch we were experiencing in our warrior one. We're breathing in this posture. On an exhale, tilt down into your side angle. Maybe you want to play with some variations. That means take your left hand outside of your left foot, maybe extend your side angle. Maybe go for that bind we went for prior. But wherever you are, in an exhale, we're going to start to straighten out our left leg, turn it inwards so that our feet are parallel to the wide edges of our mat, and hang heavy in a wide-legged forward fold. Inhale, rise halfway, placing your shoulders right over your wrists, and then fold forward. Place your hands on your hips and rise all the way to the sky, twisting your heels in for our second goddess. If you have really, really tight hips, maybe you want to walk your feet in a little closer. But make sure you can balance in this posture. Challenge yourself, but don't take it too far. Very, very important quote from a lot of my favorite yogis, right? Challenge is important, but listen, your body has its limitations, right? So listen to it and really, really, really appreciate it. Adore this one tool we have. All right, we're in our goddess. It should feel fiery already. Let's fire it up even more. I'm going to take a step back here. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hands up, and then I'm going to start to twist my right hand inside, lift my left leg to the left arm to the sky, and then come back up to neutral with these warrior kind of arms. Then twist in with my left arm, shooting my right arm up to the sky, and then come back to this neutral position. Now twist in with our right arm, left hand up, and come back. You guys got this. A couple more rounds on your own. Your breath, your movement. Remember to engage the core. Remember to really, really stay strong in those hips, right, in those feet, evenly distributing the weight. And whoa, did he say this already? Of course he did. Remember the breath. And remember that beautiful Christmas tree on your right. Whoa. Okay, last one on our left side. And come back up to your goddess. Straighten out your legs, twist them inwards. We're in our wide-legged forward fold. Maybe you want to shimmy out the hips. We're going to take our hands to the sky and then drop them down to the ground. Maybe you want to grab your toes with your peace fingers, hooking them around and then creating an even more stable base, hooking your thumb under those peace fingers. And then you want to do these gorilla arms, pushing your head closer and closer and closer to the ground, extending out your spine and hanging even heavier in that wide-legged forward fold. Inhale, extend your arms out in front of you, half lift. Exhale, fold. Now, if you guys would like, let's play with that Shavasana number 2. For your second headstand, you're going to walk your hands behind you, placing your head on the ground and creating a tripod with your hands and your head. Now, as slowly as you can, you're going to lift your legs up in the sky, first above you, above your hips, and then above you entirely. And again, we're balancing the weight between these 3 points. We're not shooting all of the weight into one of these points, and we're breathing. Feel the blood rush to your head. Stay here as long as you want, or start to come out of it as slowly as you can, slow like molasses. Extending your hips wide open and then coming back into that wide-legged forward fold. Take a half lift here. Exhale, come all the way up. Whew. Twist your left foot back into that warrior 2 position. Extend your arms, cartwheel your hands down, step your left foot back, and let's go through our Chaturanga Flow. I'm sure we're feeling a lot more open in our hips, so we're going to use that to our advantage in our next flow. For now, let's maybe take a little chance at rest. So sit back in your Vajrasana or your child's pose, whatever feels best for you right now, whatever your body's asking for. We got one more little push to go. So reconnect with the breath, get comfortable, and then get just enough energy to push you through this next sequence. You guys got this. All right, let's start to crawl our hands forward, tuck your toes, come back into that downward facing dog. On an inhale, we're gonna shoot our right leg to the sky. Exhale, we're gonna step it through in between our hands. Inhale, we're gonna come up into that warrior 1. Exhale, we're gonna open up into that warrior 2. On your next exhale, you're going to tip down into that side angle and go for that bind. So we twist our left hand out towards so the palm is facing the back of the room. You're gonna crawl your right hand under your right thigh, interlace your hands. And now we're gonna straighten out into a triangle pose. So straighten that front leg, keeping that bind if you can. And we're breathing. Your chest is twisting out towards the ceiling. And now we're going to start to move our left foot closer and closer to our right foot, and we're going to come into a bird of paradise. So we still have that bind, and we're going to slowly start to lift our right leg off the ground, off the sky, haha, and come up. And now straighten out your right leg, facing forward. Amazing work, everyone. Awesome. At your pace, come down and unwrap. I'll meet you guys standing at the top of your mat. Whoa, that was tough. All right, half lift, fold, then come up all the way. And your chance to go for a tree or an Astapatangustasana, your extended big toe pose. So for your tree, you're going to hug your right knee into your chest and place your right foot on the inside of your left thigh. If you're going for your Astapatangustasana, you're going to hug your right foot into your chest. Extend your right foot in front of you. Again, hugging your big toe with your peace fingers. Extend it out all the way. And then, if you feel like you got the openness in your hips, you're going to open up to the right side, keeping your hand on your left hip. Breathe here, and then slowly make your way out of it, coming forward first, then hugging your knee in. Give yourself a big squeeze, taking it down to the ground. Rise, Urdhva Hastasana. Fold on an exhale, plant your hands, step back, and let's go through our Chaturanga Flow. I'll meet everybody back in a downward dog. We're almost there. You guys know exactly what's coming. There are no surprises. So take advantage of that comfort in knowing and inhale your left leg to the sky. Exhale, step it through in between your hands. Spin that back heel down 45 degrees, Warrior 1 on an inhale. Exhale, open up into your Warrior 2. Tip down into a side angle. And then take your gaze up to the sky. We're going to go for that bind. So twist that right palm out so that it's facing the front of the room. Hug it in, but behind your right thigh. Reach your left hand under your left thigh to meet your right hand, and then pull back to open up your chest towards the sky. Now we're going to start to extend that front leg to come into our bound triangle. And then start to walk that right foot closer and closer to the middle of your mat. Then coming up into your birds of paradise. So as slowly as you can, keep that bind and rise onto your right foot. Then extending your left foot to the sky, or as far as you can. And look at a still point in front of you to help your balance. Breathe here. And slowly, as slowly as you can, start to make your way out of the posture. Undoing that bind and coming to a ragdoll at the front of your mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way. We're coming into our tree or Astapatangustasana on our left side. So if you're going to our tree, we know exactly what we're doing. We're going to hug our left knee into our left armpit, our chest, and then put our left foot on the inside of our right thigh, opening up that left hip. You can take your hands to heart center or grow your branches and fly away, or come into your Astapatangustasana, hugging your left knee in, extending your left foot out in front of you, and then opening it up to the left side, taking your gaze to the opposite wall, to the right. Make sure not to lean over to one side or the other. Try to even out your balance on your right foot. Slowly come back to center. Hug your left knee back into your chest. Shimmy it out and place it on the ground. Wiggle it out. And we'll come back to a Tadasana at the top of our mat. Rise for our Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Plant your hands, step, float, hop back, and let's go through our Chaturanga Flow. I'll meet everybody back in a downward facing dog. And we made it, you guys. Give yourself a little pat in the back because we're about to slow things down. Whew, get that eggnog, get all that Christmas cheer, that New Year's cheer. The Russians celebrate New Year's like the Americans do Christmas. I don't get it. I could never spend New Year's with my friends. but now I can. It's really, really sweet. Feels really cool. Anyway, take your right leg to the sky. Exhale, sweep it through so that your shin is parallel to the short side of your mat. We're gonna shoot our left leg out behind us so that it's parallel to the wide edges of our mat. We're coming into our half pigeon, or whatever pigeon variation you want to come into. But first, let's set up a stable base. Walk your fingers alongside your hips. Make sure your base is stable so that you can balance there. Then start to come onto your hands. Maybe today you want to come onto your forearms, maybe your forehead. And this pose is powerful because we do very little in it. All we have to do is breathe. Remember that Ujjayi breath we worked with? You might want it now, especially after that very challenging flow, after that very challenging sequence. The Ujjayi breath helps us to balance out those little vikritis, those little imbalances in the body, and thus stabilize the heart, the organs, everything inside. How powerful is the breath? Oh, it's pretty up there. If you want to go for a quad stretch variation, come onto your hands. Otherwise, stay down in your half pigeon. Take your right hand to the center of the mat. Swing your back heel up so that it's close to your bum. Reach your right arm up and around to grab your right foot from the inside and pull your right heel closer and closer to your buttocks. It's a funny word. All right, breathe here. Pull your quad closer and closer to the ground. It's definitely going to intensify the stretch. If you want to come into some kind of mermaid variation, go for it. Hugging your foot into your left elbow. And then taking your right hand up, above, and around your head, going for that little bit of a bind. You're still facing forward. As slowly as you can, unravel, not letting your left foot kind of just fly back behind you. If you're not already on your hands, come up onto your hands, tuck your left toe, swing your right foot back. Let's go for a little counter stretch. So we're going to come onto the pinky side edge of our left foot and stack our hips, wiggling out our right knee, making circles with our right knee. Maybe you want to come into your full Tadasana. Your rock star, or your wild thing, flip your dog, whatever in the world you want to call it. Just hang heavy and shoot your heart to the sky. Exhale, reverse those actions, taking your right hand to the ground, shooting your right leg behind you and then down. We're back in this down dog. Let's go for half pigeon on our left side. Inhale, swing your left leg up. Exhale, sweep it through in between, well, not in between, nope, parallel to the top side of your mat, the top short side of your mat. Great. Let's build a stable base, so walk your hands alongside your hips. Balance here. First, come onto your hands. If that's enough, stay here. Maybe you're taking it to your forearms today. Maybe you're coming onto your forehead. If this stretch isn't enough, maybe you want to inch your back foot further back, making sure that it's not inching towards the right or the left, that it's straight parallel to the wide sides of your mat. And breathe. If you want to come into your quad stretch variation, come onto your hands. Take your left hand to the center of the mat this time. Swing your right heel up towards your bum. Reach up and around with your right foot, grabbing your, with your right hand, grabbing your right foot from the inside. And pull your heel closer and closer to your butt cheeks. If you want to go for that mermaid variation on your right side, you're very welcome to. Our bodies aren't symmetrical. That's okay if you're able to do something on one side and not the other. Pull that right quad closer and closer to the ground to intensify that stretch. And we're looking forward. Exhale, send that back foot down. If you're not already on your hands, come onto your hands. Tuck that right toe, swing that left foot back. Let's balance out our hips. So you're going to swing onto the pinky side edge of your right foot, kind of hovering your hips. Maybe make circles with your left hip first. Then, if you want to come into your full Kamatkarasana, tip down your left toes, open up your chest, your heart is facing the sky, your gaze follows back, falls back. And then as slowly as you can, start to make your way back to that three-legged down dog, and finally that down dog. Awesome work. Pedal out the legs. This is going to be our last downward dog of class. So really notice how different it feels from that first downward dog we came in about 40 minutes ago. Must feel a lot different because of all of those hip stretches we did, all of those hamstring stretches. Your body is warm. Your body's feeling the yoga, so this down dog is a very comfortable territory all of a sudden, even if it was really strange and unrecognizable in the beginning of this class. And as slowly as you can, come onto your knees. We're going to go for a little bit of a back bend in our Ustrasana. For your Ustrasana, or your camel pose, you want to take your hands out in front of you and then mimic this shape, but taking your hands to your lower back to make sure that you keep a straight spine in your lower back when you do start to bend backwards. Your hips will come forward automatically. Your gaze will start to reach towards the sky. Your chest opens, your heart opens. Again, vulnerability. So beautiful when done right. Reach your gaze back, back, back if you can see the back wall, or the Christmas tree in this case. Holiday hips, oh yeah. Maybe you want to come onto your heels. Take your fingers to your heels and then open your chest up even more. Reverse those steps as slowly as you can, first taking your hands to your lower back, coming up and then sitting back on your heels for your Vajrasana. Swing onto one side so that you can shoot your legs out in front of you. We're going to come into a Paschimottanasana, or a seated forward fold. For this seated forward fold, your legs can be straight, or if you don't have that kind of stretch in your hamstrings, that's okay. If you don't have that flexibility, that's fine. A lot of us don't, and we're working there. We'll get there eventually. Your main goal is that your back is straight, so you're going to press your hands into the ground and make sure to straighten out that spine. Then lift your hands up above you and start to stretch down and forward into your seated forward fold. Your hands can come to the outsides of your feet. Maybe they reach for your toes, making that hook shape, right? Or maybe they interlace behind your feet. With every inhale, you're going to straighten out your back and rise a little bit. Rise your gaze up towards the sky. Exhale, you're going to fold a little deeper into the pose, taking your gaze towards your toes. Inhale, you're going to lift that gaze just a little bit, straighten out that spine. Exhale, you're going to sink even deeper into the pose. And your breath, your movement, keep going through these motions, keep going through these rounds until this Paschimottanasana in a similar way becomes familiar territory, even if it felt unfamiliar just a couple of seconds ago. And on your next exhale, drop your hands to the ground, let it all go. As slow as you can, start to roll up. Your head and your shoulders are the last thing to come up. When they do get up there, give yourself a little bit of a shoulder roll in both directions. It should feel really good. Awesome work. We're going to come to lying on our backs. So scoot your hips forward, lie down. Make sure that your lower back is as close to the ground as possible. Hug your knees into your chest. Maybe give yourself a baby back massage on the ground. We're going to go for some spinal twists. So, a couple of ways you can do it. For today, let's just extend our arms out so that they're perpendicular to the wide sides of the mat, and then hinge our knees towards the right side, taking our gaze towards the left. Our shoulders have to be on the ground for this one. So if your shoulders are coming off the ground in any way, come into a variation where your shoulders stay grounded. And breathe. Maybe you want to intensify this stretch coming into Garuda legs, eagle legs. But listen to your body and do what your body is asking of you today. As slowly as you can, come back to center. Recenter your spine. Make sure your tailbone is facing straight down alongside your mat. Hug your knees into your chest. Extend your arms one more time, and this time dip down to the left, taking your gaze over to the right side. As slowly as you can, hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a tight squeeze. And this is the point in the video where, if you guys have any other additional poses in your practice, please feel free to pause the video, do it, and then come out with us. We're going into our shoulder stand and our Ananda Balasana, or happy baby. So anything else you guys want to do, pause it, go for it, and then come back with us. I'll take you out with a Shavasana. Otherwise, for our shoulder stand, you're going to scoot your hips forward towards the top of your mat, and you're going to kick your hips up and catch your lower back simultaneously. Now you're going to straighten out your legs so that they're as stacked above your shoulders as they can be. Your feet are stacked above your hips. Maybe you want to walk your arms down lower onto your back to come up even higher, but be careful not to twist your neck, either left or right, because that's very dangerous for our cervical spine. Straighten out this pose, breathe into it, and then maybe you want to start coming into your plow. Hinge at the hips and start to take your toes down behind you. My toes are the holiday gifts this year, right under the Christmas tree. Oh no, he didn't. If you want to intensify this, maybe reach your arms out in front of you, interlacing your hands for your full plow. Stretch it out. And then one of my personal favorites is Deaf Man's Pose. So for Deaf Man's Pose, bend your knees and hug your ears with your knees, giving them a tight squeeze so that you can't hear a thing. Reverse those actions, first coming into your shoulder stand, then coming down out of it. Maybe you want to slide your hips back towards the middle of your mat so that you have more space for your happy baby. For your happy baby, shoot your legs up to the sky. Catch your feet on the pinky side edges and pull your feet down with your hands while at the same time pushing your hands up towards the sky with your feet. Rock side to side, make some baby noises. Wow! All right, and let's go for maybe a kind of lion's breath here. We've done it before, but the lion's breath is really, really helpful for us to detoxify, to get all that nasty stuff out of our bodies. So all together, let's take a really, really long inhale. Hold it at the top, make a really sour face, crunch every muscle together, even your mouth, and then open your mouth as far, as wide open as you can. Stick your tongue out and let it all go. Maybe you want to straighten one leg, then the other leg. Go through those rounds. And however you want to get there, on your next exhale, you're going to open up into your Shavasana. Your legs come to opposite corners of your mat. Your toes splay out in opposite directions. Your heels face in. Your palms are facing up towards the sky. Your neck is long. And you're breathing. Silence is so beautiful, especially in such hectic times when we're always being bombarded with notifications and phone calls, texts. So in the Shavasana, we really, really reap those benefits of taking a moment of rest to ourselves, away from all that nonsense. Let's start to wiggle out our toes, our fingers. Hug your knees into your chest, either one by one or simultaneously. Give yourself a squeeze. And then however you want to make it there, come to a seated position at the top of your mat. Keep your eyes closed, or try to as best you can. Take your hands, palms wide open, onto your knees. And let's sit here for another minute or two, really taking in that silence. Take your hands to your heart center. Reconnect with the breath. And let's start to think about all those things we're grateful for. This holiday season, I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for an incredible support system and all the resources I have. I'm grateful I have any kind of job. And most importantly, I'm grateful I get to share this practice with you. On your inhale, take your hands to your third eye center, the space in between your eyebrows. Think about what you're grateful for, and in the holiday spirit, let's all bow in gratitude. Namaste. On an inhale, flutter open your eyes, come up to seated. We made it, you guys. I want to congratulate you first and foremost for making it through this entire class. That was not an easy class, so give yourself a little pat on the back. You did great. So again, namaste. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you soon. Peace out. Happy holidays.